This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain a drama, horror, and mystery film called Hypnotic. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. In an office building at night, a frightened young woman named Andrea leaves a message for Detective Wade Rollins, telling him that someone is still following her. Andrea hurries to the elevator while constantly looking over her shoulder. She hesitantly enters the elevator and watches the floor numbers as it goes down. Suddenly, her phone rings. Thinking that it's a detective, Andrea answers it. Instead, a male voice tells her, "This is how the world ends." Just as he hangs up, the elevator shakes to a stop. Andrea screams for help and tries to pry the doors open. A high-pitched sound echoes as the walls close in, trapping her inside. One evening, Jenn arrives at a housewarming party for her friend Gina. However, Gina explains that there was a mix-up and her husband invited Jenn's ex-fiancé. Unwilling to back down, Jenn still attends the party. There, she awkwardly sits alone and spots her ex-fiancé, Brian. Gina's husband, Scott, apologizes, claiming that he thought Jenn wasn't attending the party, so he invited Brian instead. Gina then introduces Jenn to her therapist, Dr. Collin Meade. Gina suggests Jenn to attend therapy with Dr. Meade, who she claimed changed her life. Later, the friends talk about their careers, and Dr. Meade joins in, asking Jenn about her job. Jenn hesitantly claims that she's in between jobs, but Brian adds that she's a great software engineer. Brian takes one of the appetizers, but Jenn stops him and asks Gina if the food has sesame. Gina realizes her mistake, and Scott jokes that Brian could have died in their new house. Scared, Brian puts his EpiPen on the table just in case. At the end of the party, Dr. Meade leaves his business card with Jenn. Outside, Brian thanks Jenn for saving his life. He awkwardly shares that he misses Jenn, but he doesn't want to bother her. Jenn criticizes him, claiming how he's making her look like the bad guy in their relationship. She then corrects herself that he's also not the bad guy. Brian then offers her a ride home, and this leads them to spend the night together. The next day, Jenn regrets sleeping with her ex. Gina comforts her, then recommends that she see Dr. Meade again. Jenn doesn't like the idea, but Gina stresses that she needs it. Jenn visits Dr. Meade's office, and while in the waiting area, a patient named Tabby walks by and shares how she used to have severe OCD, but Dr. Meade fixed her. She promises that the therapist will also help her. During her session, Jenn shares how she doesn't feel motivated to do anything. Dr. Meade explains that bad habits have a root cause and asks Jenn what could be hers. When she dodges the question, Dr. Meade asks about her and Brian. Jenn shares that she and Brian met in college. She then reveals that she was pregnant when they were engaged, but she lost the baby. After the tragedy, they grew apart. Dr. Meade suddenly recommends hypnotherapy, but Jenn refuses to give up control over herself. Dr. Meade assures her that she will remain in control of her subconscious, and the process will help her recover from trauma. To convince her, he asks what she wants. Jenn simply answers that she wants to be happy. Later, Dr. Meade performs hypnotherapy on Jenn. She watches the light wane in and out as the therapist instructs her to relax. Once she's relaxed, he tells her to imagine herself in a beautiful forest. After the session, Jenn is stunned to see that it lasted an hour when it only felt like 3 minutes. Jenn doesn't remember what happened, but Dr. Meade is optimistic about their session. 3 months pass, and Jenn finally lands a job after seeing Dr. Meade once a week. Gina's jealous since Dr. Meade refuses to put her under hypnosis, which she hoped would help her with her arachnophobia. While asleep, Jenn dreams about being in bed with Dr. Meade. 2 weeks later, she sees a boy in the mall reminding her of the son that she lost. Dr. Meade spots her and wonders why she hasn't been coming to see him again. Jenn explains that she's been busy since she got the job. At a cafe, Jenn shares how she now does yoga with Gina and even meditates. When Jenn jokes about how Dr. Meade hangs out with his patients, he starts to share his life to seem more friendly. Dr. Meade reveals that he had a wife named Amy who passed away. He then suggests accepting life and creating the outcome they choose instead of being consumed by their hardships. Dr. Meade changes the topic and asks about Brian. Jenn admits that she's avoiding him since it's hard for her to see him. Dr. Meade asks what she thinks will happen if she tells Brian this, and Jenn believes it will only hurt him. He then encourages her to invite Brian for dinner that evening, insisting that it will be good for her. That evening, Jenn receives a call from Brian, promising that he'll be there for dinner. She then receives another call and suddenly, Jenn freezes. Jenn later finds herself in her apartment with dinner laid out before her. She hears someone choking in the bathroom, and she finds Brian unconscious. Jenn uses his EpiPen on him and then rushes him to the hospital. The next day, Gina meets Jenn in front of the hospital. She assures Jenn that it was an accident, but Jenn shares that she can't remember anything. Gina thinks it's just shock, but Jenn insists that the last thing that she remembers is when she was at the store. After Brian has been in a coma for 8 days, Dr. Meade checks on Jenn during their session. Jenn thinks that she's responsible for what happened to Brian. Dr. Meade encourages her not to let the fear consume her, suggesting that they continue their hypnotherapy to relieve Jenn from her fear. Jenn continues to have sensual dreams of Dr. Meade. worrying her. Unable to sleep, she cleans up in the kitchen and finds a receipt from the grocery store, implying that she bought sesame oil after receiving the mysterious phone call. This triggers her memory, recalling how the mysterious caller was in fact Dr. Meade, and how she added sesame oil to the salad that she prepared for Brian. While researching, Jenn discovers that Dr. Meade is involved in several cases where his patients mysteriously died. She also finds articles about crimes committed under hypnosis. In the morning, she shares the articles with Gina, highlighting how a patient named Andrea experienced missing time as she did. She also ran a background check on Dr. Meade and found that the earliest record of him was a restraining order Andrea filed against him 6 months ago. Gina dismisses Jenn's theories. However, Jenn presents the news articles where people committed crimes under hypnosis. Then, she shows the receipt with the sesame oil, insisting that Dr. Meade called her before she made the purchase. Jenn remembers everything from that night, but she stresses that she was not in control. After finally convincing Gina, the two meet with Detective Wade Rollins to ask about Andrea. They disclose that they're also Dr. Meade's patients, and strange things have been happening with Jenn. Rollins immediately deduces that Jenn went under hypnosis with Dr. Meade, which she confirms. He tells them that Dr. Meade was questioned about Andrea's death, but they got nothing from him. Rollins wanted to investigate further, but was ordered to stand down. He shows them Andrea's case file and the security footage when Andrea picked up the phone. While in the elevator, Rollins believes that Andrea had a heart attack due to extreme fear of whatever she saw in the elevator. Upon leaving the station, Gina revealed that she recently underwent hypnosis with Dr. Meade. She's now worried that Dr. Meade might do something, and Jenn promises that they'll figure it out. Jenn makes a last-minute appointment with Dr. Meade. She secretly starts recording on her phone just as Tabby leaves, looking afraid. Jenn lies that she's been having anxiety over Brian's situation, so she has to be hypnotized to calm her down. At the station, Rollins looks through the case files of all of Dr. Meade's patients who died, seeing a pattern. After the hypnosis, Jenn hurries to her car and listens to the recording. While under hypnosis, she confessed to him that she was recording him. She also talked about Andrea, and Dr. Meade revealed that he knew how she and Gina went to the station that day. The session ends with Dr. Meade calling her, "My love." Later that day, Gina drives with Scott to meet with clients. Jenn calls her and instructs her to return to the house. However, their call gets disconnected, and another number calls Gina. She picks it up, and it's Dr. Meade telling her, "This is how the world ends." Gina freezes in fear, seeing a spider on her lap. She begs Scott to remove the spider, but he doesn't see it. Gina speeds the car in panic as the spider crawls to her neck, leading the car to collide with the truck. Jenn arrives at the scene and screams in grief. Rollins visits Dr. Meade in his office and announces that Gina and Scott are dead. Rollins interrogates him about Gina while he sneaks one of Dr. Meade's cocktail spoons in his pocket. Rollins notes that all of Dr. Meade's patients who underwent hypnotherapy share physical characteristics, except for Gina. Dr. Meade dodges the notion and offers Rollins to fix his insomnia, but the detective just leaves. Later, Rollins visits Jenn. Jenn confesses to recording Dr. Meade and that he knew that they were investigating him. Rollins points out that Dr. Meade never put Gina under hypnosis until Jenn started asking questions, but stresses that it wasn't her fault. He mentions running Dr. Meade's prints using the cocktail spoon, hoping that it will lead them to some answers. When Rollins leaves, Jenn finds that he left Andrea's case file on her table. Someone knocks on the door, and Jenn answers, thinking that it's Rollins. Instead, it's Dr. Meade. Jenn immediately tries to close the door, but he overpowers her. When he orders her to stop, she freezes. Dr. Meade questions why she doesn't trust him, stressing that he only helped her get what she wanted. He claims that Brian and Gina were just in the way of her dreams, and promises that he'll also take care of Rollins. He assures Jenn that he's doing all of this for her, claiming that his actions are romantic. Dr. Meade hovers over her, nearly touching her but pulls away. Before leaving, he tells Jenn to relax, and she suddenly falls to the floor. Jenn quickly locks the door and calls Rollins, but he doesn't answer. Rollins arrives at his apartment and charges his phone, and while having dinner, Rollins hears movement in his apartment. He checks the rooms but finds nothing out of place. He returns to his dinner, not noticing someone climbing out of his kitchen cabinet. Suddenly, Tabby stabs Rollins. He defends himself, but the woman relentlessly attacks him. He picks up a box and slams it over her head, ending Tabby's life. The next day, Jenn visits Rollins in the hospital, who worries that he can't report his suspicions on Dr. Meade yet, learning that the police sometimes use hypnosis on witnesses to help them recall information. Jenn suggests putting her under hypnosis with a hypnotist to make a statement about Dr. Meade. Rollins, however, doesn't think it will be enough for a murder case against him. Jenn is scared of what Dr. Meade intends to do with her, so she begs Rollins to let her try. Jenn plays a recording to the police's hypnotist, Dr. Stella Graham. Jenn admits that she no longer trusts hypnotists, but Dr. Graham assures her that she will only check what her subconscious knows about Dr. Meade. As soon as they begin, Jenn starts to choke, and Dr. Graham struggles to wake her up. Jenn recalls Dr. Meade talking about his mother, Dr. Sullivan. She sees a house and remembers being there with Dr. Meade. While enjoying dinner, he gave her a gold bracelet with the date, March 6th, engraved on it. Finally, Jenn wakes up. Dr. Graham is shocked, deducing that Dr. Meade implanted a failsafe on her in case someone else hypnotized her. Because of this, she cannot confirm how many hypnotic suggestions he placed on Jenn, which could be triggered in various ways. Upon learning that the day is March 6th, Jenn decides to go to the house in her vision. Before she does, Dr. Graham suggests planting a counter trigger in her mind to keep her safe from Dr. Meade. Jenn then arrives home and researches the house and about Dr. Sullivan, whom she learns was a hypnotist and who participated in Project MK Ultra. Jenn shares the information with Rollins, declaring that she will be visiting Dr. Sullivan. Rollins discourages her from doing so since it could be dangerous, but she goes anyway. Jenn arrives at the house in her visions and rings the doorbell, but no one answers. Nonetheless, she enters the house and looks around. There, she finds a photo of Dr. Meade with his late wife, Amy. Seeing how she resembles herself and the other patients, Dr. Meade suddenly greets her and reveals that Dr. Sullivan was his father. He then puts Jenn to sleep. At the hospital, Rollins receives a report that Dr. Meade's fingerprints match that of Julian Sullivan's. He calls Jenn to warn her, but she doesn't answer. Jenn suddenly wakes up in Dr. Meade's office. She immediately calls Rollins and tells him where she is, but Dr. Meade is nowhere. Rollins hurries to her while Jenn searches for a weapon. She finds a letter opener just as Dr. Meade arrives. He tells her to take a seat, and she complies. Outside, the police raid the building to Dr. Meade's office. Meanwhile, Dr. Meade shares how Jenn reminded him of Amy when he met her. He confesses that the other patients also resembled Amy, but not as close as Jenn does. Finally, the police reach the door and prepare to break it open. Just then, Dr. Meade tells Jenn to wake up. Jenn suddenly wakes back up in the house with Dr. Meade, and the police find the office empty. Rollins tells them to check on Sullivan's address, figuring that it's where Jenn is. Dr. Meade paints her nails as Jenn can't do anything but shed a tear. She recognizes the room, realizing that Dr. Meade implanted his memories of Amy in her mind. Dr. Meade is trying to recreate Amy using Jenn. When she calls him insane, he pulls her hair and insists that he isn't. He continues putting makeup on her, claiming that he and Jenn share wounds of lost loved ones and they can bring each other comfort. He then puts the gold bracelet on Jenn, revealing that today is his and Amy's anniversary. With everything set, Dr. Meade leans in for a kiss, but gets distracted when Rollins enters the house. The sound of the door breaks Jenn from hypnosis momentarily, but Dr. Meade commands her to hold on to the bed railings while he takes care of Rollins. Jenn yells for Rollins, telling him that Dr. Meade left and that she's trapped. Rollins finds the room, but it's locked. Instead, he looks around the house for Dr. Meade, still struggling from his injuries. Suddenly, the power goes out. Rollins approaches a door where a light wanes in and out. Rollins sees movement and fires his gun blindly. Jenn finally breaks free from the hypnosis, but Dr. Meade knocks down Rollins. She finds him in a struggle, and Dr. Meade orders her to sleep. She collapses but fights to stay awake. While her vision spins, she grabs the gun and pulls the trigger. Jenn wakes up, and Rollins tells her that she was able to shoot Dr. Meade. Backup is on the way, and he assures her that everything will be okay. But as he comforts her, he suddenly calls her, "My love." Jenn recalls that Dr. Graham used this as a trigger to break her out of Dr. Meade's hypnosis. Jenn wakes up and slams an ashtray across Dr. Meade's face. She runs and finds Rollins with a bullet wound on his shoulder. Rollins weakly directs her to his ankle, where Jenn finds another gun. She grabs it and shoots Dr. Meade twice. 1 month later, Jenn visits Brian in the hospital, sporting a new look. She apologizes to her ex-fiancé for shutting him out when they lost their son. She then visits Rollins, who has received a promotion after the Dr. Meade case. Jenn thanks him, and he hands her a gift. After leaving the station, Jenn opens the gift and laughs at the hypnosis CD.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.